Hello, welcome to Africa Business Channel. Today we have two exciting persons to speak to. One of them wrote the book, The President of the United States of Africa. The book, which we'll hear quite a bit about, we're going to hear also about the author and their partnerships with promoting this book. So you're going to hear from two people who we believe have some interesting things to tell us about ourselves, tell us about Africa. And they are part of Africa's future, creating the image of Africa that we all want. So without further ado, Melisa, please introduce yourself.
Okay. My name is Melisa Amajemfi. I'm a children's book author. I'm a mother of 3 girls and I'm married also. I write children's books on 21st century skills, and I combine them with Black history, cultural stories.
Okay. I'm going to come back to that. And Melina, please introduce yourself. Tell us who you are.
My name is Melina Adiwale. I am a teacher and a supplementary school owner. I'm a mother of 2, and I'm married to an African man, a Nigerian man.
Awesome. Awesome. You mentioned something just quick. So just for clarity, because this video will be seen across the globe. So we want to make sure that we fill everybody in terms of, you said supplementary school. Can you describe what that is?
So supplementary school is a school outside of school hours that supplements education, and we focus more on Black history, Black modern history, and Black education, essentially. So we run on the weekends.
Weekends, okay. Yeah. All right, folks, so now you know what a supplementary school is. Thank you so much, by the way, for that, because we know that in regular schools, they tell us almost nothing about ourselves. Mm-hmm. And the little bit that they do tell us doesn't look good. It doesn't paint a good picture. So we appreciate what you're doing in terms of that. Now,
thank you.
Melisa.
Yes.
The book you wrote, The President of the United States of Africa. Yeah. First and foremost, why the title? That's an interesting title. Why the title?
Why the title? Because we always talk about, with people of African descent, we always complain about, Africa, why is it in the position it's in? Why are leaders not doing what needs to be done? And I always when I learned about Marcus Garvey, about their visions for, United States of Africa, we learned about Kwame Nkrumah and their vision of, United States of Africa. And obviously that wasn't completed. I kind of thought to myself, if there was, in which there will be a United States of Africa, how would it look like? How will people work together? How would they communicate with each other? How would they negotiate their deals? So that idea has always been with me. And then I've already got a children's book called Makida's Keys to Success. I've got a lot of books written down which are going to come out. So when I sat and I thought, you know what, when the ideas started coming, like, this country, what do they need? We've got a diaspora in the Caribbean. How can we work together? It's been so long, 400 years. We don't even have direct flights. How would it work out? And we're quite older. We have younger, me and Melina have younger children, and they ask these questions like, if we lived in Africa, how would it have been? If we lived in, Jamaica, how would it have been? If we lived in St. Kitts, how would it be? I mean, if we were, doing things that we need to do and not depending on other people to do it. So I thought, you know what? Why don't I just combine what is needed, which is 21st century skills such as communication, we definitely need to collaborate, critical thinking, and definitely negotiation and leadership skills. So I kind of mixed the ideology of a concept of the United States of Africa that has never really been taught. We talk about it. And then 21st century skill, today's skills, where technology, STEM, AI, how would it look like? And when the project is complete, or not even project, so the nation is complete, how would it look like?
Awesome.
So I kind of, yeah.
Well, you covered quite a bit, so I'm going to sort of dig a little bit into it. Is there an age group for your target audience? Could you tell us
Yes.
what that is?
Yes, it's so in the UK we would say key stage 2, so that's between 7 and 11 years old.
7 and 11. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So interesting. So you're tying history with modern day necessities in terms of understanding technologies and so forth.
Yes.
And Melina, you are on the other side of this, where you're actually dealing with these kids on a regular basis. You are the gatekeeper in a sense. I mean, literally, you are the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, both of you, I don't know how you met. So can you, Melina, tell us, first of all, how you met? The subject matter, I can see how you would meet, but can you tell us how you met?
So we're both very much into education. So I think eventually our paths would cross anyway. But we met on Instagram. So at the time, Instagram was the only platform I could advertise my supplementary school. It was a platform I knew inside out. I was very comfortable with it. And that's where I started. And Melissa actually sent me a message asking about the curriculum and what I was teaching. And I gave her this great pitch about why her children should come. And she was like, yeah, but what are you teaching the children about the fourth industrial revolution? What are you teaching them in terms of STEM? And I said, not much really, to be honest. Do this. I said, Melissa, listen, this Sunday we're supposed to be doing this. Can you give me some ideas? And she will say, why don't you try this and why don't you try that? And then we put it together and it's a brilliant lesson. The kids love it. Parents come back and speak on what their children are learning and things like that. And yeah, that's how we met. So we kicked it off from day one.
Particularly happy that you guys met, because as a force, you guys are a force to be reckoned with, and when you add more to the mix, that just makes it better. And because it's so complementary in terms of what both of you are doing, that's really, really, really good. So tell us a little bit about the writing process of the book. Tell us how, for the benefit of those who see you as a mentor, meaning I want to write my own book.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody if they're looking to write a book, and in a book of that fashion?
Okay, I would say when it comes to writing a book, like people get too overwhelmed, like, oh, I've got this great idea, but it's just so much, ideas coming to me. I don't know what to do. I would just say, just write it. You literally get the pen and paper, just write. Then when you start reading it, it will make sense. It might not make sense. It might make sense. Then you can start taking bits off here and there. And then literally, for me personally, I don't know if it's, a gift. I just, whatever comes to me, I just write it and then just write it. And then later on, go to editors, maybe talk to Melina. Look, do you think this idea is good? That's just how I do it.
Capture the idea.
Yeah, I capture the idea.
When you're doing things or you want something accomplished, you don't have to be the expert at it.
Yes.
And you don't necessarily have to know how it's going to end, but the key is to start. And that's what she's saying. If you sum up what she's saying is start, capture as much as you can capture.
Yes.
Melina, you're on the front line of dealing with kids.
Yes.
Okay. When she shows up with a book like this, and you have this book and you have it presented, you have it in front of you, what's the approach when you to introduce this to the kids?
Michaela's Keys to Success. When I read that book, I just thought how she was able to encapsulate everything in terms of governance, economics, simple things like respecting your parents and doing chores around the house and savings, and it's got financial literacy in there. Literally, it's quite a thick book, so it's not something that you can read to your children every day, but you can definitely read a page or two every day to them and finish it within about 3 weeks. And on each page, I was able to create a lesson plan just from one single page. Yeah, and KijijiSchool, we run for 2.5 to 3 hours. So I can teach a whole session just off 2 pages of Melissa's book
Wow.
because it's so informative, and then what it entails is sort of breaking down, reading between the lines and breaking down some of her some of the book that she's written, and then just keeping the children engaged by giving them an activity afterwards. So, for example, last week we did Africa's natural resources, so and infrastructure and housing and things like that. So we learned about bamboo, we learned about mud houses as well, and then and you obviously put a little character to it, and you get them to speak and read and things like that. And then also, what I found that really helped with Melissa's book and some of the lesson plans that I've created is with Black children especially, and we were just speaking about this today, with Black children especially, we don't really we tend not to work well in a classroom setting where we're sitting down and just reading off a board. We need stimulation, we need to move about, we need to exercise and walk around, especially for our Black boys. So I always try to incorporate some sort of exercise, or even if they're sitting down in something with their hands, that just for stimulation. And I feel like that really works.
Taking pages by page, because you have to obviously set up the scenario. And so that's the prep work, so to speak. So it's not just the content, it's making sure that you're ready for the content, the kids are ready for the content. So it makes perfect sense in terms of that. Now,
and also 1 minute.
go ahead.
In regards to what I was saying, 21st century education, now a lot of it has to be theme based. So that is why I do my books in that order. So for example, if we are going to learn, let's just say like what Melina said, financial literacy, that will be the theme. We can add maths to it, and then we can find, one of our Black, pioneers that were good in finance, good in maths, good in, money, and we put that all together. So it's theme based.
And one of the things you pointed out, which people might not realize, is how our kids learn. African kids, generally speaking, especially the boys, are a little bit more fidgety, so to speak. But that's not because they're being disruptive. That's just their learning style and the way they operate is a little different, and it is misunderstood in the bigger public system, and the kids are sometimes labeled incorrectly, totally incorrectly. But I'm glad that you recognize that, and you are obviously accommodating for that in the book, in your class, and in how you put this across. Now, so this book hasn't come out yet, but you already have another book. That's the name of that book? Tell us about that book. Give us the name and where they can find it if it's available online or so forth.
Okay, so yeah, I've got my book. My first book is called Makida's Keys to Success. So it's of a young Black girl. It's like a journal book. That's why Melina says it's like a girl in a diary, and basically she wants to be successful. And basically she's trying to convey a message that she needs to do certain things to become successful in life. That, affirming certain affirmations in the morning, respecting her elders, wherever she goes, just respecting people in general, studying, bringing ideas, being with friends that like to study too and have the same ambitions as her, and for them to go on their journey, her understanding savings and investing, her understanding Black history. And the reason why I put that in there is because when I was younger and I used to go to school, as much as I knew education was important, I never felt like it was, not that it was for me, but that I was a part of it, because I love history. But when we used to learn history, and Melina can relate to me, we would learn about Henry VIII and his wives. This is in our curriculum. Melina is still in it today, the curriculum today, Henry VIII.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
stuff like that. So I didn't mind learning it, but like, where did my story come from?
Yeah.
Then later, as I got older, there was like a Black bookshop just near my house when I used to live with my mum and dad in North London. And I saw a beautiful art picture. This is where we say Black children learn differently. This beautiful like African picture was just staring, gleaming in my eyes, like, oh, okay, let me go in. And I'll say, Polly, the day I went in that shop, it changed my life. Literally, I saw pictures, I saw books, like books of people I've never heard of. And then I learned about Dr. John Henrik Clark. And then that's when I realized the real importance of education.
Of having, yes. Both of you, I would imagine, have a similar background in terms of experience. Going to school in the UK, not seeing representation at all. Or if you do see it, it's maybe just a tiny little thing, and it's probably not even, it's not worth even talking about because it's so minimal. So now both of you have this opportunity, this platform to make some change, to create what you didn't have. And on behalf of all the kids who will learn from, the work that you guys are doing, I want to thank you both on behalf of those kids who might not necessarily know how to express themselves, because I know the value of what you bring to the table, both of you. And I know the long-term effect when our kids can see themselves in the true light that they should see themselves, that they're not seeing now. And you talked about just a little bit in terms of the schooling system. Honestly, if you went to school in Nigeria, you went to school in Kenya, you probably wouldn't have learned anything more. Melina, tell if you could wave a magic wand, if you could magically find one and wave it, what would be, in terms of schooling, the one big change if you could make?
Yeah.
What would that be?
If I had a magic wand, it would be to have more Black teachers, African teachers in schools, and it would to have a more culturally diverse perspective on Black education, African education. Yeah.
Awesome.
I think that's what we're really lacking in the UK in that aspect. Yeah.
One of the things I would like to do, I'd like for people to reach out to you, to both of you, and because I think you have something of significant value, treasure actually, that needs to be propagated. In our world, oftentimes it's the entertainment side of things that gets propagated. And the actual things that are beneficial to us are left on they're just not propagated. So you've got the book, or the new book that's coming out, but you've got the other book, and you have the class. Let me ask you, the current book that you have, Keys to Success.
Yeah, Makida's Keys to Success.
Keys to Success. Where is that available? Is that, if somebody wanted a copy of that?
It's on Amazon, so they can go on Amazon now worldwide and purchase.
Okay, folks, it's on Amazon. You have no excuse, none whatsoever. You go to Amazon and you spend money all the time, buy something at least of value that will last generations, okay? Whatever you buy on Amazon, most likely it won't last generations. But if you buy a book and don't buy one, please don't buy one, buy 5 or 6, because you have the opportunity. Look, here's the deal. If somebody found gold somewhere, you'd like them to tell you that they found gold so you can go get some too, right? So when you find gold, do like the Chinese and the Indians, they tell each other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They tell each other, so we have to tell each other. And one way we tell each other is by saying, look, here is a copy of the book. So when you go out to buy the book, buy a dozen copies and then give them out to the people. Give them out to the people. And hopefully one day you'll get Melisa to actually sign that book.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, but please, it's important, because if we don't support each other, then who is going to do it for us?
Exactly.
We certainly cannot expect that the folks that don't look like us. Okay, there's the book itself.
Thank you. And
the
president. This is just a sample copy of the president. So this is.
It is our responsibility. This is the African village. Everybody's responsible. Everybody is responsible for our kids, making sure that they get the proper education, making sure they have the right, whatever they need to accomplish and to become stars in life. If somebody wanted to reach out to you, Melisa, how would they reach out to you? Do you have an Instagram? or
Yes.
so go ahead and give
I
us.
have an Instagram. I have email. So my Instagram is love_me_stories 1. Yeah, that's on Instagram. TikTok is the same, Love Me Stories 1 on TikTok. Also, they can reach out to me on email, lovemestories@gmail.com. So that's how they can get to me.
Folks, we're going to include that in the description, so that you'll be able to easily find that. How would they be able to find you, Melina?
So they could find me on Instagram, which is KijijiSchool. And then you can go on the link tree and it has a link to my email and the YouTube channel, and it has all my contact details. My email is KijijiSchool@outlook.com. And you can also get my number there and everything else. I take calls. Yeah, that's how you can contact me. I don't have a website yet. Website's pending, coming.
That's okay. That's all right. That's perfectly fine. The key is that they, because people will watch this and say, "Hey, I want to reach out to you." Perhaps they might want to even host you on their channel, and so you get some more visibility, because it's about making sure you get as much visibility as possible, folks. If you've watched up to this point and you have not subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and subscribe. And by all means, please give this video a like. When you give the video a like, here's what you're doing. You're telling YouTube, this video is important, not just to you, but it should be important to others. And so the least you can do, these folks have taken their time to come here. The least we can do, and it doesn't cost you anything, is to give the video a like. And by all means, please share the video. All right. Continuing on. So let's look to the future a second. Melina, you talked about the deficiencies in the school system. And Melisa, you talked about, the image that's missing from our folks. The subject matter that you have, honestly, I believe is a global subject matter for our people. And folks, if you are in Nigeria, Kenya, or some other place and you need to interview them, their information will be in the description. So you have no excuse. You can find them, okay? You'll be able to find them and be able to interview them just like I'm doing here. But coming back to this, the books, right now, they're all in English. But we know in Africa, we have French, we have Portuguese. Are the books only in English at this point?
At this point, it's only in English, but there are plans to do different versions for different languages like French, Portuguese, even African languages, because we don't need to, lose the language. Definitely Swahili. It's all in the pipeline.
All in the pipeline.
Yes, definitely.
Folks, and Melissa, you can tell me if this is something that, if you are a Swahili speaker and you want to help out in terms of trying to get the book translated, I'm sure she will gladly accommodate you.
Give her of any African language, please reach out to me, because that is the whole point. Because where I come from, sorry to interrupt you, Holly, I'm just passionate about these things. Where I come from in Ghana at the moment, the education system, they only speak English. You can get in trouble just for speaking your language in school.
Really?
Yes.
So if you speak Tree, you have a problem?
Yes. They'll tell you do not speak vernacular.
What?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. I did not know that. I did not know that.
So people are now trying to work out, because you understand or grasp certain concepts in your language. You get yes, you know how to speak English, but you still won't grasp the full
the full depth of it.
Yeah, the depth of what the person trying to say. So yeah.
Well, that's why we need to make sure that both of you, this effort is an international effort, so that somehow, somewhere, working together with others, that you guys can put something together. Maybe the plans you have, Melina, you can, share that with others in other countries. Everything you're doing there can be done in the United States. I can tell you that much, because in terms of history, well, they barely teach history here, and the little bit they teach, we barely come up in it. So there is definitely opportunities across the pond, so to speak. You mentioned a little bit about technology.
Mm.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit more, Melisa?
Okay, so for example, like when I first spoke to Melina, and we talked about the fourth industrial revolution. Now we all know, well, no, actually, let me not assume. In a few years' time or years to come, a lot of the jobs that we're in school trying to, get good grades for are not going to exist. We are going to be working with AI. You've got 3D printers now. You've got virtual reality. And so if if our children don't even understand how to read data, you're not stepping in any corporation. Not you're not stepping in it, but you need to have an entrepreneurial mind and understand technology or understand cloud computing. So why is it now? I mean, our children are not even. I mean, these concepts are not being given to them. We have cryptocurrency. This is, whether we like or not, this is the world that we're in, and we have to know how to work with it. I know sometimes we hear people say, "Oh, AI is going to be dangerous." But if we as Black people understand it, we could control it. That's just that's how I see it. So there's no point of saying, "Oh, AI is going to be dangerous," and we're watching other groups of people study it to the core. Yeah. And once they learn it, the people that will learn the technology that is coming are the people going to be in power. That's just it. That's just the long and short of it. So we have to understand these concepts and learn it, not for the bad, but for the good, and use it to benefit us. So our children need to understand artificial intelligence, cloud computing, these 3D printers that are coming. We need to understand they're already on their phones, so why not even, work with the children? I mean, if they're to do a project while they're in school with their phones where they can find information instead of, just always, like Melina says, writing, on pen to paper and not being interactive, So we need to understand these things that are going on around us and work and be able to work with it.
Listen, that is what you just said here is so spot on. It's not even, it's the truth. It's as simple as that. It doesn't need to be prettied up. It's the truth. Everything you've described there. Melina, you are dealing with the kids. So you see them using technology. You see them interacting with technology. Talk to us about what Melisa just talked about. And from your vantage point, how do you think we can integrate not just the cultural aspect of things so we understand who we are as a people, but how do we move from here and make our name elsewhere, as in technology?
Yeah, so in schools they're already, so for example, the quintessential old school homework, as you would have it, is pen and paper, or your teacher giving you a sheet to take home to complete and then bring back. That's all gone now. So now my children, the school that they're at the moment, they're given laptops, and they have apps that are already downloaded on the laptop, and they've got English, they've got maths, they've got science, they've got art, all on the laptops already. When they're in school, they're learning junior coding, so they're using apps such as Scratch and things like that. You won't find a dictionary at the moment. The teachers don't give children dictionaries at the moment. What they'll tell them to do is go onto Google or download a dictionary app and research that way. So I've already seen the shift. Like, it's been crazy. There's even PE, for example, when it was COVID in 2019, and we had to stay at home and shield and things like that, and most of the homework and schoolwork was done online. That's what I think propelled the whole tech industry in terms of education. I think the way forward now is for Black education, especially, is apps, and as well as supplementary schools where they can come and be present, but also learning to create their own apps, learning from apps, learning app technology, like Melisa said, cloud technology and things like that. Because, like she said, like it or not, that's the way the world's going. And I see it. My son is 7, I'm 8, and he's obsessed with iPads and computers and things like that. If I try to get him to write a story with pen and pencil, he doesn't want to do it. If I tell him to type it, he'll do it all day. He'll do it all day. But I think there is a natural progression anyway for children moving into the technology revolution. But like we said, it's just the way things are. And even as myself, I'm quite slow. I never thought I'd say this because I sound like my parents, but when they would come to ask you to fix the VCR or the video, now it's me calling my 8-year-old to figure out how to use this app. Or it's so complicated sometimes. But even with the homework, it's like if you and yourself are not clued up, or you don't try to gain some knowledge on how to use technology, you will get left behind. It's in simple little things as educating your children. When he was doing some homework, or my daughter was doing some homework, and I was just like, I don't understand what you're supposed to be doing and how this goes. And he was like, this is what I've done, this is what I need to do, and blah, 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 blah. And he had to show me how it worked. And I thought, if I don't learn this now, I'm going to be missing out. So that's really where the future is at the moment. I think, and the easiest thing, us as the diaspora, what we can do is put our children into coding classes, teach them data, teach them cryptocurrency, put them into, if you can't do it yourself, the only way is to outsource and put them into supplementary schools and classes for after school, because it's not handwriting anymore. It's not writing down homework anymore. It's a shame, because I'm old school. I do like a nice handwriting, but that's not how it is anymore.
For the benefit of those who might know my background, so I've spent the last 15 years in AI.
Okay. Wow.
Yes. If most people don't know this, I spent the last 30 years in technology.
Wow.
So there's quite a bit we'll talk about in terms of things, because you guys are hitting on some very important subject matters, some of which I was going to talk about in an upcoming episode of one of my shows, because touching on these subject areas it's very, very important. And so when you both were speaking, I was just shaking my head, because you probably saw me shaking my head, because you're hitting close to home. You're hitting exactly the points you need to hit, which is we have to know who we are as a people, and we need to know the tools we have to march ahead in society, in life. We need both, okay? We need both of those. It's not a one or the other. We need literally both of those. Folks, if you have not subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? It doesn't cost you a dime. And please give the video a like. It's very, very important that you give the video a like, because that is what YouTube uses to know the video is important to you and propose it to other people. So please give the video a like and also share the video. Today, you've been fortunate to have two wonderful people who really are on the front lines of making sure that the next generation of Black kids have the knowledge, the technology, the understanding of who they are, and getting them prepared for the world ahead of them. And I want to personally thank both of you. Melisa, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show. Melina, thank you for being on the show. And I look forward to having another conversation with both of you. Thank you so much for watching.